What's the explanation behind upper management trying to micromanage innovation, talking about efficiency and streamlining, making it ridiculously hard to innovate because you have to justify everything? If I had to pick one person to attribute that to, I would attribute it to Frederick Winslow Taylor. But also at interplay here are unwritten rules of work, which is what I research. So in the early 1900s, Taylor wrote his Principles of Scientific Management, and it was based on a core belief that workers are inherently lazy. He wrote that workers try to do as little as possible and produce 1/3 to 1/2 of what they actually could every day. Keep in mind back then also, this was different labor than a lot of now, as a lot of it was in factories. He called this laziness soldiering, which is doing as little as possible without getting fired, and he called this the greatest evil. To counteract this, he proposed that managers have to control every single aspect of work, down to timing tasks with stopwatches, creating rigid procedures, and constantly monitoring performance. Now, I am a believer in breaking large tasks into small tasks, having regular check-ins, having regular feedback. I don't think the performance review at the end of the year should be the only time. Okay, you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater here. But this was the idea behind that, and this has been passed down for a long time and still lauded in a lot of spaces. Because a lot of research over the last few decades has shown that this doesn't actually help worker productivity. One of the number one predictors of job satisfaction is worker autonomy. The best ideas and innovations and when people find meaningful work are where they have the psychological safety to brainstorm and be part of the process and come up with new ideas and implement them. And there are lazy workers. 100%. There are also people who are tired of being cogs in machines and feeling like their work doesn't really matter. So even though this research is out there, a lot of the unwritten rules of our work culture are still there. I have a playlist in my bio on the unwritten rules of work for the working class. You can see that for free on my profile. My most recent study, I included neurodivergence, and that'll be released with my book. The mailing list for that is in my bio. Two of the rules that apply here are the unwritten rule of compliance and the unwritten rules of hierarchy. The unwritten rule of compliance expects people not to counter any ideas from people in power, even if they ask you, to just affirm their idea. It's the opposite of psychological safety. It has a lot of negative consequences on not just people, but the business, particularly from an innovation and a safety standpoint. The other one, the unwritten rules of hierarchy, are the informal hierarchy, or the parts of the formal hierarchy that you don't see. A lot of people are quick to blame their middle managers and hate them. But remember, the top leadership is who hired this person, rates their performance likely, or is close to it and oversees it, and endorses what they are doing as long as they know about it. They may not see them every day, but if there have been complaints against this manager being a micromanager and they don't do anything about that, they are endorsing that that is okay. And they might be holding that manager to the same standard of micromanaging or of not accepting any mistakes, not accepting any pushback, not providing them with autonomy, or expecting perfection, and that can trickle down to you as well. If not Taylor, who else would you attribute micromanaging to?